We're coming off the biggest weekend in wrestling, and what a wild ride it's been. Not only are the guys discussing both nights of WrestleMania, they're here to look at Stand and Deliver and the Raw after Mania. Card Subject to Change is part of the Four Frequency's Sake podcast network and the only show on the network without an off season. But enough talking about the network. Let's talk about WrestleMania. Take it away, Mr. Bull.
Well, good evening. Thank you for the rousing welcome, Sam, and welcome to another edition of Card Subject to Change. This is our 44th episode. Would you look at
44.
We're growing right before our eyes. 44. Hey, joining us tonight, we have the Wizard CZ. We've got Stripes, Chris Angle, and we've got a special guest popping in here to give us a little different perspective. It's such a big weekend. Give us another viewpoint. We've got Johnny Wisdom joining the show. Johnny, friend of the show. You've been on before. You kind of know how this works, right?
Hello again.
So professional sounding. Gosh, I love that. We've got a lot to talk about. I think everybody wants to talk about the elephant in the room, but if you want to hear us talk about that, you got to wait probably another hour and a half or so, maybe sooner. We're going to get to that towards the end of the show, but right now I'm going to throw it over to CZ. Wizard, tell us about NXT Stand and Deliver and anything that might have happened on Friday Night SmackDown.
Hey, so I just want to give a quick shout out on SmackDown. I didn't watch it. It's the one show this weekend that I probably didn't watch. But Bobby Lashley, who was left off of the WrestleMania card due to circumstances under his control, won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. So kudos to him. What do you guys think about Bobby Lashley and the circumstances surrounding him being off the show, off the big show?
I mean, it's a little silly. Obviously there was direction going for other things we'll talk about that kind of screwed him out of that, but putting him in that, and then obviously this almost a year-long payoff for Wyatt is not going anywhere, so that's kind of a dud, and he just kind of got the short end of the stick, but God, is he just in amazing shape right now and jacked to the gills.
He is, and that's the thing. Any company would be happy to have him, and WWE is just they're just squandering him in my eyes. I mean, I'm not the biggest Bobby Lashley fan, on planet Earth, but it's like you've got to give credit where credit is due, and he does have talent. He has a great look, and
he can legitimately whoop anybody's ass. That man has, has a legitimate MMA background, regardless if people want to say it's rigged or not or whatever. I mean, it's all rigged now. Haha. But right. He was also part of single-handedly the best thing of the COVID era of WWE, and they cut the nuts off of that way too soon, and won't go back to it. So they're leaving a lot of guys that would benefit from bringing the Hurt Business back out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Yep.
Johnny, let me touch on that a second. I totally agree with you. I mean, it's wrong program, wrong place for Lashley with the whole Bray Wyatt situation. So wash your hands of that. Yeah. It's you feel bad for the guy. He's in incredible shape. Like you said, he can work in the ring. He's a past champion, but it's almost like a horse that gets a broken leg, right? A quarter horse. They're not really worth much anymore. So they just kind of push him to the side. I hope that's not happening here with Bobby Lashley. I think I'm majorly disappointed he wasn't on one of the nights of WrestleMania. I know he made an appearance, but didn't have a match. Kind of bummed they couldn't throw something together last minute.
So if I had all the control when this draft happens in probably May or June, you flip him over to SmackDown and let him and Gunther beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Oh yeah,
I'm fine with that.
I'd be down for that.
Sign me up.
And let Bobby take it off of Gunther and move Gunther on, or let Gunther beat him and just have a Roman-esque reign where he just is beating everybody, and then realistically let him beat everybody and pull a TNA with the X Division title and give him options, and he just says, here, do a tournament, I want the world title, and he beats the shit out of whoever has it. Excuse my language.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's
great.
fine.
Nope. That word is allowed. That word is 100% allowed.
I didn't get the no words email.
So let's talk about the biggest show of the weekend, NXT Stand and Deliver. I'm being facetious, of course.
It easily had my favorite moment.
I can understand that. I want to touch on a couple things personally. One of my all-time favorites, Johnny Gargano, coming back down to NXT for a street fight, and since that's the theme of the weekend, finish his story with Grayson Waller. That was probably my favorite match on the card. Gargano always knocks it out of the park, and Grayson Waller as a performer has just ultimately exceptionally grown on me over the last year. I think he does his job really well, because when he first appeared, I absolutely hated him, and that's what you want out of a heel. You know,
that's all you can ask. Is the only thing you don't want from a heel is go away heat. Baron Corbin.
What? No, yeah.
Okay. I will
talk about him like
I will
that.
absolutely argue that till the ends of the world. Baron Corbin is one of the safest workers you will see. Who did they angle? Look at me. You look at me right now, damn it. Who did they trust with Edge's first on TV bump in 9 years in the Royal Rumble? Baron Corbin.
That's true. I didn't say he wasn't a safe worker. I just said he had go away heat.
No, you just don't like him because he's better than you.
I know it.
Baron Corbin is absolutely let him go back to his lone wolf, like just badass entrance. Like let him go back to that. Because the problem, since you brought it up, you started this. We're going to go on a tangent. The problem is they are pushing him around to too many things. Broke Corbin got over. They didn't want him to get over, so they made him Happy Corbin. That got annoying, so they gave him Madcap Moss, which was a waste of Moss because that man is a beast and can go.
Yeah,
but it showed he had a character, because I was torn on Moss when I'd seen him down in NXT and when they were here live. That ended. They didn't give them a proper program. I think it was one match and they were done with that, so there was no character development or story development there. And then they put him with JBL. That didn't work, and now he's just kind of going around working in limbo. Let him go back to now he needs to go back, grow your hair out a little bit. I understand he was balding. It's fine. Grow his hair out a little bit. Let him go back to that lone wolf gimmick and just tear it up.
And on a side note to that, when he had his lone wolf gimmick, that was my favorite entrance theme of his, and up there among my all-time favorite entrance themes. That was a great theme particularly for him, but just overall.
Yeah, I mean, and like the lights, stepping into the lights, it was just really well done all around, and it didn't translate well. And people need to realize that he is way, way better, and than people realize.
Well, since you made a stance for him, I might give him a second chance if they bring back the lone wolf gimmick.
If you don't, I hope you step on a Lego every day for the rest of your life.
My kids don't play with Legos anymore.
That's the bad part.
He was the first one thrown out of the Andre the Giant Battle Royale.
He was right out there. Yep.
I don't even think he was in there for 10 seconds.
It might have been like right after the bell.
They don't get paid by the hour, brother.
Nope.
You're right.
That's it.
You're right.
True.
All right, Wizard, what's next? Before we go on,
Johnny, I don't know what your big moment on Stand and Deliver was. I'll ask you that in a second. The next big thing there, obviously, is the crowning of the new NXT champion in Carmelo Hayes, and I think that is well deserved. I think he was born to be a champion from the moment he walked into WWE. He's ready to go. Honestly, I was torn between who I wanted to win this match, because you got to think that the person who lost is going to get called up to the main roster here pretty soon.
Right.
And it could go either way, in all honesty, with those two. And of course, I'm talking about Braun Breaker as well.
Braun's ready. They wanted to fast track him from my sleuthing. They wanted to fast track him a year ago, I think, after the Ciampa thing and the Ziggler thing. But he needed to stay down there, and he's gotten a little bit better. The only thing I was ever confused on was this whole program. Like who was I supposed to cheer for and who was I supposed to boo? Yeah. Well, especially like, I don't know. It was just real weird because Carmelo was absolutely playing I'm him. I'm better than you. I can't miss. Like cocky. You don't want to like him because he's just telling you that he's better than you and proving it. But I don't know. Just I watched a couple of their promos during, and it was just there wasn't any emotion in it. They just played off the 18 months ago. They said, we're the guys, and now it's finally here. Well, which one of you is going to poke the other one in the eyeball and take it? Right. I don't recall that match very well. I might have been half asleep because I'm old. But I don't know who I was supposed to cheer for and who I wasn't. So that whole thing confused me. I mean, CZ, same as you. Either one was fine. Both can carry NXT. Braun will come up. And I like what they're doing now. They're not just pulling guys up to pull guys up. They want a direction for them because a lot of guys are getting lost in the shuffle. So maybe he'll show up on Friday night, or they could save it until they do some type of draft. I heard ramblings that there's some heads of different entertainment places that own one of the shows once people shuffled around. So we'll see what happens. I think a lot of it with this purchasing, they just put a lot of stuff on hold.
Yeah. Yep.
Sounds about right. Yeah. That's all I really wanted to touch on as far as Stand and Deliver goes.
Are you kidding me right now? You are not. You are not. You are not going to skip over Indy Hartwell getting her moment.
That's why I was going to toss it to you next, Johnny, because I knew you were going to talk either that. I was banking on either that or the North American title match is what you had in mind. But
no,
good match with the women.
I am so happy for Indy. Like, she's just been there doing her thing, and I was really worried when the Garganos in theory went up that she was going to get lost. And she did a little bit
for a short time.
No offense to her, but like she never got a chance to develop her character outside of herself. Now she has that opportunity, and the way they did it was absolutely perfect. Dexter coming in, lifting her up, keeping that going, all of that. I just really enjoyed her getting a chance to shine. I mean, nobody saw it coming. You know, everybody thought it was going to be Roxanne getting it back, or I don't know, one of the other ladies. But Indy was definitely the one that needed it.
And we all here love being surprised. That was definitely one of the surprises of the weekend. Let me ask your opinion. You mentioned Dexter Lumis helping her out. Where do we see Dexter falling now after WrestleMania weekend? Does he go back down to NXT with Indy, or does he stay on the main roster like he's been, although he kind of got lost in the shuffle there?
No, his character is absolutely just let him be in the background. I honest to God think it'll come around and he will be one of the Wyatt people. If they ever get to that, he will be one of them.
Okay, I can see that.
The Vulture was the crazy one, right? Of the puppets.
Yeah.
Like always the rabbit. So he'll be the, like, I could honestly see him being the Vulture. Waylon, gosh darn it. What? It was Waylon.
It was Waylon.
I'm Mercy the Buzzard.
My problem is with that. What are they going to do? That's just a whole nother issue in itself. I mean, with this whole Bray Wyatt thing, the problem with that, I think, is that they took so long to kind of.
Nobody gives a damn anymore.
Exactly. Nobody cares. And it's like once they bring him back, or if he comes back, they're going to be like, oh, wait a minute. And hopefully they'll maybe, if they do stay with that same storyline, same kind of thing, they'll kind of fast track it a little more, but not fast track it enough to where it's going to get lost in the shuffle. They're not getting. People are going to be like, that was too rushed.
You want to know what you want to?
Oh, go ahead, Johnny.
No, I mean, real quick. You want to know what you do on that? When and if he comes back, you jump straight to it. He comes back 6 deep. Everybody you wanted to be in it is there. they'd beat the hell out of somebody and make a statement similar to when Nexus did their thing, the Shield did their thing. You just bring them back, put them out of the gate, and keep them big for 6-7 months, and then let them trickle away and do their own thing. And similar to the firm in AEW, just let them be dudes who have each other's backs, but not necessarily always a group.
I can agree with that.
I was going to parlay kind of into what Johnny said about, to me, the only way they can save it is right. To save it, it has to be full bore, full blast when they come back. Because if they continue this snail's pace, I mean, nobody gives a crap about it right now. So they have to do something, desperate times call for desperate measures. They have to do something extreme. Like the group has to be formed, or they all come together in one night and at the end of the show beat down whoever. But something quickly has to happen with that if it still is going to be a thing.
I don't necessarily know if they're like Wyatt's sick or if it's family stuff or if they just don't know what to do, so they pulled him back and let him sit on the back burner and pop back up. Because I know a lot of people weren't happy with that Mountain Dew blackout rave scene from Blade, the rave scene from Blade match. Blade 2? Was it Blade 2?
I thought it was Blade 3 and Trinity.
Yeah.
Was that the one where they were in the rave and then he threw his little thing around the bathroom and it chopped all the heads off?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
either
that's
way,
the thing with Bray Wyatt.
Go ahead, Angle.
Sorry. That's the thing with Bray Wyatt. When this first originally started, everybody was on board because, it was something different and they kept it going, but there was no payoff. There was no end in sight. There wasn't, I got to understand like pushing a story and letting it drag out, but there has to be some kind of payoff that's there for the watch, the person to see.
The payoff absolutely should have been the Monday Night Raw after Royal Rumble when all of them were on top of the thing after Jeff Hardy'd himself off the tower.
Yeah. Yep.
That should have been boom. Here's him. Honestly, just let them all come out in the damn suits and do it Aces and Eight styles. And every 2 weeks, somebody gets unmasked, and you're like, "Oh my god, it's so and so."
Yeah,
my god, that man's got a family.
He's got a family.
It's Shelton Benjamin.
Oh god, I would be so happy.
I don't care if it's Shelton Benjamin.
I love it.
Give him something.
They need. You're right. If that thing's going to survive, it's going to need a shot in the arm and quick. I seriously don't think we're going to see Bray for quite some time. Maybe that's because of what's currently happening as we speak. Maybe I don't know. There was creative differences there, but whatever it is with Bray, it needs to get figured out.
I think they got rid of the outside writer they brought in that was working with him too.
You're right. That was working.
They did.
Yep.
Yeah. So that could be part of it, is now like people are butting heads with Bray on what he wants to do. But we could go into a whole episode of this whole Bray thing. But the fine folks came here to hear about WrestleMania, and
they did.
A couple hours after Stand and Deliver, we got night one of the 2023 WrestleMania 39 card.
39.
I just want to.
What was everybody's expectations going in? Just to the show in general, not either night, just WrestleMania, the event.
I was excited to see, because realistically looking at it, it was an absolutely banger of a card.
Yeah. Yep.
There was some stuff there was people in there, like there was people who got left off that probably should have got on there. But overall, this is the first WrestleMania and maybe the last under the Hunter regime and under kind of that new direction and kind of listening to the pulse of something outside of their vacuum.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was a lot they did right. There was a lot that could have been done better. They really, looking back, should have mixed some of this show up and put certain stuff on different nights.
Yep.
But overall, I was excited to see where it was. And I think our old pal, Mr. Regal, realized during your preview with you guys that he was excited about this as well. So
very much so.
If he's excited about it, just because he's kind of a purist and annoying with it sometimes, there was something to do because he's very picky about what he enjoys.
Yeah, yep, that he is. And the way I looked at it when I looked over the card from top to bottom, both nights, the one thing I did notice, it was very, very front end loaded. The first night was it was evident when first night came and gone, it was very, very front loaded. And the second night was it was just there. I mean, I'm not saying the second night was bad, but it wasn't as stacked as night one was. And by looking at it on paper, it kind of looked like that because I think they were trying to have Gunther save that second night, but that match saved the second night. And they were maybe looking forward to maybe a bigger reaction than they got when Roman went over.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. But I'm just saying that's the way I looked at it.
I think they went, and I'll counter that with this. I think they went night one. It's a Saturday. They can go a little bit longer. So they loaded it. Yep. Night two, night one, they had it on there with the tag, with the Usos and KO and Sammy. Night two, if you look at it, was very Reigns and Cody. Supposed to be the big story. Finn and Edge, a year build. It was more. It looks more the big spots are more long-term story based. Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew. I mean, they've been doing that for a while, all the way back to September, right? That was Clash at the no. When was Sheamus and Gunther? Was that in the summer?
September. You were right. September.
Okay.
Yeah, September.
September. It was nice. It was September.
So I mean, you see there. Three of the five are big, multi-month, long build, lots of stuff going on. So it was more story based, whereas night one was more of your quote unquote indie show.
And I'll be honest with you, I looked at the card and excuse me, my first thought was there's potential for every single one of these matches. I did not feel there was a stinker on the card on paper, and I feel that they all delivered to the extent they needed to, if not beyond, in my opinion. And we'll go through, we're going to talk about the matches, but I honestly thought I had high expectations and I was not disappointed is how I'll put it.
You're right. Night one was clearly probably it was the better night of the two. It also had the better stacking. Everything's been given away now, but night two, the feel good night, right? And then, or night one, the feel good night. Night two, you just, I don't know. We know. Now you see why stuff was stacked that way. I feel, but I loved the execution and the production of. Yeah, they could have stacked the cards a little bit better, but how they stacked the matches, I thought was excellent. Time was excellent. Nothing seemed rushed or hurried or pushed. So from a production stacking of a show standpoint, I really liked how they stack the shows. We'll talk about the production stuff up here. Are we going to go in order match by match, or how do you guys want to go with the matches?
I mean, I have it pulled up right here, so I can just ding them.
Yeah, I do too. So
I think in order of the matches is probably the easiest way to go about it.
However you guys want to go, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do night one. And of course, they lead off the show with one of the all-time greats, a guy who's headlined several WrestleManias, is now opening one. We have a returning John Cena taking on Austin Theory for the United States Championship. And just let me start off by saying this. I had a lump in my throat and tears in my eyes with Cena's entrance. I'm like, Jiminy Christmas. We're 5 minutes into this show and I'm crying.
Yeah, I agree. Was it me, or did John Cena look a little pale that evening? I don't know if it was maybe the lighting, or if it was just
no.
It was weird.
He made Sheamus look tan.
Yeah.
It was either it's either that or Theory was so tan it made, but no, he was I even said it when I was watching night one, like he doesn't need to be jacked and tan anymore.
No, yeah.
He doesn't need to be in the gym 8 days a week and 5 hours a day. He's still in shape. Yeah. He looked pale.
Okay, I'm glad I wasn't the only one.
But he also, I don't know what his schedule was like. He could have been he could have been doing a movie before he came out or whatever. So finish something up.
Yeah.
Right person won. Obviously.
Absolutely. Person won.
This was absolutely a passing of the torch.
I gotta point out the commentators kind of hinted at it. I don't think it was a passing of the torch as much as it was, as far as the match goes, a taking of the torch. I think yes, I agree it was a passing of the torch match, but I think Theory just straight out grabbed it out of Cena's hands and ran with it. I don't think it was Cena passing it on.
No,
based on how the match went.
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, it was a passing / taking. Like character-wise, Theory said, "Kiss my backside. I'm taking this, and you can go away."
Yeah.
But yeah, that one. I mean, that one. I think the entrance was the biggest thing in that one. Nothing too crazy. It's typical, good typical opener. I mean, nothing.
Yeah, it did what it was supposed to do. The entrance was cool. Yeah. I don't think anybody. I mean, the right guy won, like you said, keeps his build going, and I mean, it clocked in at just over 11 minutes, so it really wasn't nothing. It didn't really drag on. I mean, nothing really dragged on this show, which was. Tell me a WrestleMania where last WrestleMania you said went well, that didn't drag on. I mean, this thing just moved and it had more good matches than bad, and that's good, and that's what we're talking about here. Any other thoughts, you guys, with Theory and Cena?
Now Theory needs to prove it. He proved it. Now he needs to prove it.
I agree.
Yep, 100%.
Yes.
We have the men's WrestleMania Showcase, the Fatal 4-Way Tag Match between the Street Profits versus Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus Alpha Academy versus the Viking Raiders. I'm not going to lie to you guys. When 4-way Fatal 4 tags are thrown together like this, my expectations are lowered.
Yep.
But man, this did better than I thought it was going to be.
It delivered.
Yes, it did. It did. It absolutely did. So my hat's off to these 8 gentlemen because they they picked the pace up of the show after the opener between Theory and Cena.
Oh yeah, this match, I was very underwhelmed when it first was announced, and I was like, just one of those multi-man bull crap, and it over delivered, and I mean it was action after action after action, but it wasn't a spot fest. It was like, okay, they're actually going to tell a story, and it was put together in a very nice little present.
Angle, would you say they stood and delivered?
They stood and delivered. That is correct.
No. So I
love it.
And in the nicest way possible, this match was way better than it had any right to be.
Yeah.
There was no reason. Well, there was a reason, but there was no reason for those guys to go out there and put on a freaking banger, as the kids say.
Yeah.
The Ricochet riding everybody down, tower, everybody goes down. Angelo just taking Braun off of his feet.
Yeah.
And Braun is a big man.
He's a big boy.
Ricochet shooting star press to the outside and landing on him like a koala. Like he didn't even land on his feet. He landed spread eagle. Like they could have caught him like a baby.
Like,
all right, I'm really creeped out because Mr. Honorable One's camera froze, and he's just staring into my soul right now. This is not fun.
Well, that's Nick's. There he goes.
Okay.
Welcome back.
He's back. Welcome back. Whew. It was a little scary.
You're listening to the you're listening to the Card Subject to Change podcast on the For Frequency's Sake podcast network. If you're just tuning in, don't let the name of the episode fool you. We are talking about WrestleMania weekend in full, giving our thoughts on everything that happened over the weekend. We just talked about a great match that, like Johnny said, had no business being as good as it was for what it was, but those 4 tag teams really knocked it out of the park. I know a lot of people were looking forward to the next match, and that is one Logan Paul with I think everybody has some connection in this room, whether it's loosely through SCW or personally with his opponent, one Seth Rollins. Seth frickin' Rollins. This match started, and I think I looked over at Nick, and I texted Nick. The first thing I said was that Shawn Michaels wants his entrance back. Logan Paul coming down on a zip line.
Terribly, might I add.
Terribly, exactly. Thank you.
On a zip line with a microphone. I mean,
and it was his birthday.
You're right. It was his birthday.
But guess what? All 3 of you reacted just like you should. So he did amazing.
He did. He did. It was a terribly done zipline attempt, and he was annoying with it. He did his job, and I was like, Logan Paul, you suck terribly. Yeah, it was what it was.
And of course, Mr. Rollins doing his tribute to Jeff Jarrett once he takes his jacket off with the pink stripes down.
Was that a tribute to Jarrett, or was that Shawn Michaels? Because he had the chaps with the pants.
I think it was a little bit of both. Yeah, I pulled up a picture of Jeff Jarrett, and I was like, this could go Jeff Jarrett, or it could go Shawn Michaels. Yeah, I bet he was thinking Shawn Michaels, but yeah.
I mean, yeah, Jarrett's. I mean, he wore his whole double J,
God awful
lighted hat that was double J.
Love it, and the glasses.
Yeah.
Ain't I great?
In your house too. I watched him sing it, and I won't be told otherwise. I watched him perform the song.
It wasn't him. It wasn't him.
Not a true wrestling fan if you do not know the lyrics to that song.
Spend my day working hard on the go.
There we go.
What's the other?
But the hands on the clock keep spinning too slow. I can't wait to be alone with my baby tonight.
What's the other song you got to know, Angle?
The other song.
What's the other country song you got to know if you're a wrestling fan?
Oh, is it Rap is Crap?
Rap is Crap. That's right. The West Texas Rednecks.
We're off the rails, folks. We're talking about Rap is Crap. I love it.
Logan Paul, Seth Rollins, right? That's what we're talking about here.
That's what we're talking about. I'm just going to say, while this match I thought was fantastic, it was not the show stealer of the night for me. And I hate to say that, but there's another match that I gravitated more towards, and we'll talk about that later on.
No, but
not to take away.
It wasn't the show stealer, but it was good enough to where it wasn't in the back burner. It wasn't lost in the shuffle. It was one of those matches that it still stood out, but it wasn't I don't think it was the show stealer that everybody thought it was going to be. Now, don't take anything away from Seth Rollins and Logan Paul. They did an amazing job, but yeah, you're right.
I think the match was. Go ahead, Nick. I'm sorry.
I'm going to look at it from this standpoint with Seth and Logan Paul. That was a great match, I just think everybody else stepped up their game and was on their A game on that night one. I really do.
Right.
This match did what it was supposed to do. It showed off the athleticism of Logan Paul, showing how he, belongs in the ring, which, by the way, he does a better buckshot lariat than Hangman. So regardless, he is smooth as silk. He's athletic. And Seth will bring that out in his opponent, right? Brings out the best in his opponents. So I thought the match delivered. Now, it may not have got the reaction that the main event did, or Ray and Dom, or Rhea and Charlotte, but put this match on any other Mania, and it's probably one of the top 2 or 3 matches. It's just night one was special this year, and it's nothing against Seth and nothing against Logan Paul. This match was fun. It was good. And I just think everybody else was on their A game on night one.
And the thing that makes me happy to see is that Seth made everybody, at least me, made me forget that Logan Paul is not a regular professional wrestler. He's only been doing this for
a year,
less than a year. Exactly.
Was that his 4th match? I believe
that's
correct?
His 4th match. That's correct. And I mean, and that's the thing. Like everybody seems to forget, but he's been in the ring with, veterans that bring out the best in other people. And I think Seth Rollins did that.
And he gets months at a time to go over what he wants to do, but
you're right. You're absolutely
anything like that. No.
No, you're absolutely right.
He is absolutely between him and Bad Bunny, they are the top 2 celebrities to come in and do anything wrestling related. He is also 28 years old. He is also athletic as all get out.
Right.
Yeah.
The only thing that I probably, after watching it, they should have changed is let them get a little more gritty, especially with the story they were telling.
Yep.
Seth's supposed to be pissed. He cost him the Rumble. He cost him the Elimination Chamber. He knocked him out with 1 punch twice. Like, they were fighting. It should have been more of a fight. I don't know. That's just it should have been more. I don't know. I would have liked to see it more of a fight as opposed to a wrestling match.
Was it just me, or they put a lot more emphasis on the rod in Logan Paul's hand? I had no clue. Like, until Mania,
I never heard him mention it before.
Exactly, but they put so much on there. And my wife actually, she looked it up, and he's got a rod in his hand, and it was some
titanium screw or something.
Yeah, like a 40 millimeter something crazy screw, and it's legit there. So I mean, they could have used that this whole time when he got knocked out. They could have said, "Oh, blah 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 blah. There's his titanium screw."
I was really hoping it was Seth Rollins' business partner in the Prime bottle suit. It would have been amazing.
Yes.
But it was Logan Paul's
that would have been fantastic.
The first words out of my mouth, the first words out of my mouth when then he took that KSI took that thing off, I was like, "It's our truth." I legitimately thought it was our truth. All right, come on.
First words out of my mouth when I saw the Prime bottle was, "Oh, that's Seth Rollins' entrance. He's gonna jump him. He's gonna be in the Prime bottle, jump him, and just beat the snot out of him."
That would have been a good idea.
That would have been awesome.
But it was way better to see that damn jacket.
Yes, he looked like Rihanna. He looked like Rihanna.
I love that jacket so much, so much.
Seth, of course, known for his eccentricities when it comes to his entrances and what he wears to the ring, which is amazing. I don't think he's gone wrong yet.
No.
And his gear from Raw was pretty good too.
Whose face was that? I couldn't tell.
It's Becky's.
Was it Becky's?
Yeah, it looked like it's Becky's. I first noted it was Becky's face when I looked at his shoes. I was looking at his shoes and it's Becky's face all over everything.
Amazing.
You're getting a little ahead of us, Nick, but I appreciate that. I was just saying
I didn't spoil anything. I just said, hey, his ring attire on Monday night was awesome.
Amazing.
I agree.
What was next? Because I just realized my listing is out of order.
Next match on the card is the 6-woman tag match.
Yeah. Yep.
Unless you guys have more to say about Logan and Seth.
You can go right ahead.
But I was hoping that's where we're at, because talking about ring attire, Trish Stratus with the throwback to last time WrestleMania was in LA.
20
gorgeous.
With the same designer that did it back then.
Was it?
Yep.
Very cool.
She looks better now. She looks better now than she did 20 years ago.
Don't get me started. This is possibly a family show.
There might be kids listening.
She has taken great care of herself, and
it's that yoga.
Opposite of Lita, she looks. Lita's a little rough, but Trish is taking great care of herself, and we'll just leave it at that.
I wonder if it's the DDP yoga, the DDPY.
Lita lived that punk rock lead singer lifestyle after.
Yes, she did.
This one to me, like, I enjoy all the ladies that were in it. This was, I hate to say it, kind of just I was doing other things.
Bingo.
Let me talk about this match. And
is this the one that gravitated towards you? This is the one that gravitated towards.
This is the one
that was better.
In many ways, yes. In many ways,
family
no.
Family show. Calm down there.
But I want to turn things over to Stripes a little bit and see if he can explain, because what took away from this match for me was the ref. I don't know if you caught any of this, Stripes. I thought the ref was out of position quite a bit. And this may be a little too inside baseball, but I'm just going to say it. I thought the ref did not do a good job keeping track of this match.
This match, I really didn't notice it all too much. I mean, there was another match that I did. Off the top of my head, I really couldn't tell. But the one good thing about WrestleMania, I thought, was the refs definitely did stay out of the way. Like I said, this match, I really didn't per se notice that. CZ, you might have noticed something else. I mean, maybe me going back and after you saying that and kind of watching it, it might be a totally different story now that you said that.
He seemed distracted. There was a spot where all 6 women were out. Well, that's fair. But you are who reminded me that this is a family show. But there was the spot that really got it for me was when all 6 women were outside of the ring and he was doing the 10 count. I thought that 10 count was way too fast compared to other 10 counts in other matches. He just seemed to be going through that at lightning speed.
That very well also could have been they were getting on him from the back to get them back in as well.
Yeah, and that could have been that, and it also could have been it just could have been them trying to speed up the match. They could have been in his ear saying, "Hey, let's get him moving, let's get him going."
Right.
I will say the Trish doing her vintage head scissors to the outside was rather adorable.
Oh, yes.
That was super cute. But other than that, this one for me it just didn't. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was just there, and I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why that is. Because on paper, Johnny, it should be a banger.
It should. I feel the same way. I feel the same way about it as you do. I felt this match, if you were going to assign a match on the card, that, I mean, I guess if you're calling this one a stinker with the eye candy, I guess, whatever. But it dragged on, and I guess I was expecting a little more from this, knowing who the participants were.
And I'm just real confused on the whole tag belt situation, but hopefully now I see that they're gonna run that with Becky and Lita for a little bit, which I just don't understand. I don't know why they took it off of Io and Dakota to begin with. I don't know. I'm confused.
I can agree. I don't think that added to the story at all, and you still could have gotten to this WrestleMania match without the belts changing hands.
I mean, that just It took away a spot on night 2 that could have been somebody's. Like if they wanted them, if they wanted them off of EO and Dakota, put them somewhere else and let people on night 2 have a tag match. I don't know.
No, I'm with you. I mean, it's when they put the belts on Becky and Lita. Yeah, it gets a pop, but you would have thought like Damage Control would have stolen back, before Mania. But I don't know. They're currently they're doing a tournament or something, or they have a number 1 qualifier for the women's tag belts, which we'll get to after a while. But your guess is as good as mine with how they're going to get the belts off Becky and Lita.
Well, I mean, I think there's going to be some chicanery, and one of those 3 is going to turn on the other 2, and then that will lead to SummerSlam.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think it probably
that's what it's.
Yeah, I can see that. Well,
Man,
I think
Trish is going to be even more cute when she's a heel, right?
Yes. Because from what I read, it's Trish and Becky at SummerSlam.
Sign me up.
Oh, that'll be amazing. Yeah, I'll pay for that.
Sign me up.
Not UFC
speaking of
prices.
No, not that.
That's fair.
I will pay $9.99.
The Peacock deal is good for like another 4 or 5 years. So
okay, good.
There is peace in that. They renewed that within the last year or 2. So at least 4 or 5 years the Peacock deal's in place. But after that, who knows?
All right. What do we got next?
We're talking about Trish possibly turning heel at SummerSlam, facing Becky. Speaking of heels, let's talk about Dominic Mysterio, everybody.
I swear to God, if any of you bad mouth Dominic right now, I will insult all 3 of you.
If anybody badmouths this match right now, I will do what I can. I will do what I can to the other 2. Johnny, I'll put up a fight, but I'm not going to say I'm going to beat you. This from top to bottom.
Yes,
yes.
Go ahead, Chris.
The entrances alone are what these were the 2 best entrances of the night, in my opinion. Not only due to the fact that we have 2 SCW alum or current stars in the escort of Dominic Mysterio. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Connor Braxton and Jossie. But the fact that Dom came out of the prison paddy wagon with a police escort wearing Ray's mask, the fact that Ray started out in a lowrider.
Hold on. Did you notice what mask it was? And what his outfit was based. His outfit
Halloween Havoc.
Yeah. Yes. The classic that still is a banger to this day. I believe it was 97.
Yep.
Yeah.
Halloween Havoc. The mask was that mask, and his outfit was, it fits with the purple, but it was absolutely a jab at that iconic, what made Ray, what broke Ray out and made him a star.
What put him on the map.
And there's our match of the week, folks. If you haven't watched it, go back to Halloween Havoc 97, Ray versus Eddie Guerrero. A fantastic banger of a match, like Johnny said.
And it was the opener.
I believe, Nick, didn't we talk about Halloween Havoc? Isn't that in our archives back last year? So
it is, and you don't even have to be a Patreon subscriber. You can just go back, click, and subscribe. We did talk about that. I know we both broke down that match. Gosh, that seems like years ago, but it wasn't. But what I was alluding to, when you said, Johnny, that nobody better say a bad thing about Dom. Outside of the bloodline, Dom is my favorite thing to watch. If you would have told me this a year ago when he was dressed like a superhero to match his dad, I would have said, kiss my ass. No way. What they've done with him by putting him with the Judgment Day and with Rhea, and that's his mommy. The teardrop tattoo.
The teardrop that kills me every time.
The Eddie haircut, everything from top to bottom. This was my favorite match of night 1.
And then can we talk about, and I know you were going to do it, CZ, before I just went on a tangent. Can we talk about Ray coming out in a lowrider to Eddie's music, to
That pops me.
What was it? What Snoop song did he come out to first?
I don't even know.
I don't remember offhand.
I don't remember. And then him wearing the Muda mask and
yes,
all of that, and like him legitimately taking his belt off and whooping Dom, and Dom throwing a drink in his sister's face and her jumping the barricade and his mom smacking the snot out of him. It was just the absolute best payoff.
Johnny, I like how you're mentioning all this. This match had a lot of moving parts. And usually when matches have a lot of moving parts and all this extra stuff, it kind of takes away from it. This was the opposite. Tied everything together.
Tied in. Yep.
And it was, I loved it. I loved everything with his sister, with his mom, even the end to set up the next match, probably with Bad Bunny, a tag match of some sort, maybe a one-on-one with Dom. But I know this match had a lot of moving parts, and I had this discussion with a buddy. That's why he has another match for match of the night. He thought, oh, this had a lot of moving parts. There was another match with him, but I loved everything about it. You could buy into the storyline. It's father, it's son. It's, the dad not wanting to fight his kid, but finally does. I mean, my goodness. And it paid off. I mean, it was
so
excellent. I loved it.
It's absolutely the not on purpose, but providing for your family, father not being there, son angry. Even when he finally gets to be by his dad's side, it's not, oh, you're Dom Mysterio. No, you're Ray's kid, right?
Yeah.
Your Ray's kid. That's Ray's son. It was all of that, and I know a lot of people, not even if your dad wasn't around, or if your dad's somebody famous and you don't become as famous, like there are so many people that can relate to that and relate to his anger. Like, you weren't around, you missed baseball games, you missed football games, you missed this, you missed that, you missed birthdays.
Yep.
And finally and now I'm here and blah, and I'm still in your shadow, and I'm a grown ass adult. I want out of your shadow. There's just a lot you can relate to in that. So,
yeah. And don't forget, this match was also brought to you by Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Jesus Christ, get that out.
I've heard rumors that Ray's next feud is going to be with Austin Theory, who is sponsored by Beyblades, if you guys remember from Survivor Series.
Yeah. So hey.
Can we bring the zombies back? Jesus Christ. I'm all for stuff getting sponsored and whatever. Yeah. My only problem, and I read this on the internet shortly after, is in a match where both men are going to be at the height of their emotion, and that story is supposed to be coming to a final end, there's a dancing Cinnamon Toast Crunch piece in the corner.
It was awesome because right when Rey Mysterio pulled off the belt, I'm like, oh, this butt whooping is brought to you by Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Jesus.
Hey kids, just because your dad's a deadbeat doesn't mean you can't have some great cereal.
That's right. It was perfect.
I want to rave about Rey real quick in this match. So many times when guys are at the tail end of their career, they maybe try to do too much or stuff they used to do that they probably shouldn't be doing anymore. But I did not get that from Rey. Everything that Rey did in this match was like within his realm of what he's currently doing. And hey, he's the greatest lucha of all time, and he got put in the Hall of Fame, and then he went out and showed you why. That was amazing. I don't know if anybody else has anything to add on that match. Johnny, you got anything more for that match?
No, because there's more that's going to come later that I have a big, long thing where I'm absolutely positive I know where it's going.
Night 1 or night 2?
Monday night.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
But speaking of perfect and outstanding, can we please talk about the banger that Charlotte and Rhea put on?
Oh, this is my candidate for match of the night, arguably match of the weekend.
An amazing match. I don't know about the weekend, but I don't know.
It was great. It was a great match. I don't know about the weekend, but if it was yours, I can't argue that.
Can we talk about like just the absolute ungodly shape Flair's in right now? Like she looks way leaner, and more defined than she ever has.
I had a feeling you were talking about Rick, but I was a little worried about that.
I mean, he's in A shape.
He's in A shape. Yes, that's true.
But I mean, like this is one of those ones very similar to when Roman finally has his day, that it's 3 years in the making for this rematch, for this redemption. She is a whole new character. Like, you know, I'm so glad that they gave Rhea her chance in the sun in front of everybody.
Oh yeah.
Last time she did it, it was in an empty room with video screens, or maybe just an empty room completely.
It might have, exactly. It might have been just an empty room.
And I believe Rhea's up 2-1 now over Charlotte.
Yes.
Or did she beat Charlotte for the Raw title? And when they would have been in Tampa.
I don't know.
I don't remember. Lost. No, I thought she won that one because she was wearing the all white. She lost the NXT one.
She lost the NXT and then yep, that's right.
Yep.
That's right. Yep,
but was it Charlotte with the Raw one?
I think so. I think it was,
I don't remember.
Let me take a look. What Mania was it?
It'd have been 3 years ago whenever they were in Tampa.
Okay.
COVID Mania.
COVID Mania. That'd be 36.
But just they like you don't see it a whole lot in WWE ladies matches. They beat the snot out of each other.
And they did.
And like Charlotte landed on her face, and no, you're okay. Like Charlotte landed on her face on a German. Like they traded submissions. They started slow. It built. You thought people, figure 4 couldn't get the figure 8. Just it was so damn good.
That German where Charlotte landed on her face. Oh my God! I thought she was dead for a second there.
Yeah. I would have liked to seen Charlotte, instead of the regular moonsault to the outside, do her twisting one, because there was a bunch of moonsaults to the outside already. Like, just small stuff. And I like when she does the twisting one better, just because not very many ladies can do that. So it sets her apart.
And I know this is going to be kind of petty, and Johnny's probably going to mock me for it. But the one problem I had with this match was at the end when Charlotte, it looked to me as if Charlotte was no-selling Rhea's victory. Like, I mean, she was just like sitting there, like she went through that hell of a match.
Me and a mutual friend of ours, SCW Hall of Famer and former multi-time champion Steven Youngblood, we're talking about this. I think she rolled out, was happy for Rhea, and watching the screen, watching her celebrate, the cameraman and the production guys kept putting the camera on her. Because if you look, she absolutely broke character. She's smiling.
I did see that.
She was sitting there in defeat, which is fine. Like, you took the riptide from the second rope. You took the 3, you laid there for a couple more seconds. You can absolutely roll out and recover and be sad. Right. She rolled out, let Rhea have the ring. The cameramen kept panning to her.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what I was seeing, and I was just like,
I can see what you're saying. It does look like she no-sold it, but I won't make fun of you. I will counter it with Rhea's finish is just a pump handle slam. And it was a pump handle slam from the second rope. Not that body breaking of a thing. She took the 3 count. She laid there for a couple more seconds, rolled out, let Rhea have her moment. I blame the production crew that kept panning to her.
Right.
So going back on what we said earlier, I believe it's 1-1 with Charlotte and Rhea. WrestleMania 37 night 2, Rhea defeated Asuka for the WWE Raw Women's Championship.
Okay.
So
that was the all white Rhea gear.
Yep. That was the all white Rhea gear from 37, which was in Tampa. So there you go. I see both sides of it now, Johnny, that you bring up the point where, obviously they're planting seeds for something in the future. Again, I mean, they could do this every year. I'd watch these two ladies wrestle. But I think Charlotte kind of had that, you got me. You got me kind of thing. Like, kid, I got you last time, but you got me this time. That's kind of how I took it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Charlotte's disappearing for a little bit to do some bodybuilding stuff, and that's that's why she looked like she did, because you can absolutely tell she's been leaning out and doing all that. So,
right,
CZ, you haven't said a word about this match because I keep going on rants.
Let me tell you my takeaway on what I absolutely loved about this match.
I'm sorry, we're out of time.
Yeah, we're out of time.
Good night, everybody. The match itself was phenomenal. What got it for me was the crowd. The crowd started off with a 50-50, let's go Rhea, let's go Charlotte chant. And by the end of that match, that crowd was 100% behind Rhea Ripley. She earned the fans' respect in that match. And that was amazing to me. I thought hearing the crowd go from that 50-50 split to solidly behind Rhea Ripley was amazing.
Absolutely.
And the match was amazing in itself. Like I said, this is my pick for match of the night. Possibly match of the weekend, but I'm not solid on that. Definitely match of the night though.
So that leaves us with the actual match of the night, correct?
Well, we also have to talk a little bit about The Miz. Because he is the host of WrestleMania.
No, we don't.
No, we don't.
No.
I'm sorry. And here's why I will absolutely argue not talking about this. They didn't need it. I understand they wanted to get to 11 o'clock or whatever, but it was a waste of time. Yes,
speaking of waste of time,
Kittle, you got the pop from the McAfee surprise, but other than that,
speaking of waste of times, the moment of the night for me was when, I don't know his name, so I'm just going to call him Lil Dipshit, came out with his hair up in bad ears.
Little Uzi,
serenaded us.
Uzi something.
That was a waste of time too.
That was a waste of time.
Little Uzi Vert. Thank you.
What?
Yes.
What, Phil and Lil?
How do you know that, Nick? How do you know that?
Phil and Lil.
And don't
Phil
say
and Lil?
Wikipedia because
No, I won't. That's what his graphics said on WrestleMania was Lil Uzi Vert.
Okay, well, you remembered that better than I did.
I couldn't pick him. I couldn't pick him out of a crowd. I don't.
No, not yet.
Angle, you're jumping the gun.
I'm jumping it. I saw it. I had it.
I mean, I understand why they did what they did with The Miz. Like, he has been a solid for almost 20 years now. They wanted to get the surprise of McAfee. George Kittle's there, probably the biggest wrestling fan in the NFL. We won't talk about that.
And I think somebody told him not to do the Zero Miero.
No, someone told him not to give anybody stunners except me. We won't talk about
except
that.
for Johnny Wisdom. That's right.
We won't. Yeah. But I mean, it was what it was. They got the pop for the local football guy, not local,
right,
but San Francisco football guy. They got the surprise pop for McAfee, which apparently only like 2 people knew that he was going to be there.
Again,
they let Miz get beat up. And then they moved on to a musical performance, which I'm tired of them having musical performances. Had nothing to do with the pay-per-view. It wasn't. They need to stop them because the Hardy one was terrible. Little Uzi Vert's fine.
By the way, Hardy is coming to the Mississippi Valley Fair this summer, so you guys can go out there and.
I'll just go Saturday night for Limp Bizkit and relive my childhood.
That's right.
That's right.
That concert is past my
just
bedtime.
Play My Way for 90 minutes.
Yeah. But can we talk about the match, the absolute match of the night? I don't care what CZ says. I don't care. I don't care what you say, CZ.
This was my number 2. This was my number 2 match.
the payoff for this and being in California, being near Reseda with the history that Sammy and KO have with that area in California, everything they've done, all of the turtles always being by each other's side, literally being brothers for 20 years and just putting on a banger.
Oh, 100%. And I just want to give a shout out to Michael Cole for dropping the El Generico reference in the middle of the match. Never thought I would hear the name El Generico mentioned on WrestleMania.
I don't know why people say he's retired. He's just taking care of orphanages in Mexico.
Exactly. Exactly.
God. He's not retired.
Johnny, I'm glad you mentioned.
He's just doing the Lord's work.
Yep.
That's right. I'm glad you mentioned the history there in that part of California. Those guys, both guys' ring gear, they had a gorilla logo, to their days with PWG, which I thought was really cool.
So did anybody figure out what Sammy said, or was it just like his gear and had his name in Arabic?
I don't know. I didn't even pay attention.
KO's had fight in it, where the PWG would go. Sammy's was Arabic. And I think we deciphered that it's probably just his name, like he had on some of his other gear.
Probably.
But I want to know, or it could have said PWG in Arabic. I don't know. I don't read Arabic.
Yeah, I can't.
I don't either.
I need to brush up on it.
It's been a while.
That's my second language.
Johnny, before you gush about this match, just let me say, I'm a tag team mark. It's what I love about wrestling. And the fact that this is the first time a tag team match has main evented Mania since WrestleMania 1. And it's the first time ever the tag titles have headlined WrestleMania. I just sat back and enjoyed all this. And you're right. This delivered. Zero complaints about this match. So,
and I'll agree with everything you say. And here's why I'm so adamant about this being match of the night. What is everybody's biggest complaint that's not like a 10-year-old with WWE? Their storytelling, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
It was the night after last WrestleMania that Sammy started his interactions with the Bloodline, or it was like a month later.
At the most it's 2 weeks after Mania last year. I had the dates written down, but I don't remember offhand. Maybe I can find them here. He
lost to Johnny Knoxville, which was an awesome match in itself.
Oh yeah.
Started his interaction with the Bloodline. Spent forever trying to finally be accepted because he had been paranoid and everybody was out to get him, and he finally gave everything. Turned on his best friend at War Games. Turned back on and Jay's work with, you should have stayed with the Bloodline. You were a brother. Everybody complains about the storytelling. This had all of that.
Everything. Yep.
It was a year in the making.
Yeah. Beautifully put together.
And I loved the callback of Sammy and Kevin stuff with the haluva kicks and Jay falling into him. And
yes.
Sammy picking him up. Or maybe it was the other way around. Maybe KO did something and caught Sammy and then threw him back up one of the times they were fighting. One of the times. Either way, there was a throwback to some other stuff. Yeah. And my buddy Steve's kids was like, oh, that's too much. That's overkill with the three of them. No. That was the pinpoint. That was the nail in the coffin. That was the F you, buddy. You're done.
Yep. Yeah, there's no limit when you're putting out your blood enemy, right? The guy who I love everything about this match this night. Just, can we capture it in a bottle and every Mania be like this?
Well, and from my understanding, people stayed after it went off the air and sang the song and watched him go up the ramp and just stayed. Normally I'm trying to get the F out of there. I ain't trying to walk down. I've been to football games with less people. I ain't trying to walk down these corridors shoulder to shoulder. Somebody's drunk. Somebody's going to try to fight me.
Right.
It was a good way to end it. It had to be this. I know there was a lot of talks on Charlotte and Rhea ending, but there was no way the emotion, was anybody that came after this was dead in the water because the crowd was going to be spent.
You're absolutely right. And that's, that's
why I understand.
That's why they put Charlotte and Rhea on before.
Yeah. And I understand, like, yes, ladies, those two would absolutely deserve to main event any other night of WrestleMania except this year with the stories that are involved in both nights' main events.
Right. You know, it makes me think of Nick and I talking about Ring of Honor last Friday. You said that everybody would have been spent after this match if they had put Rhea and Charlotte. It's kind of like the El Hijo del Vikingo Commander match from Supercard of Honor. Nick and I felt that the ROH crowd was completely dead, so because that went on first and it just sucked the life out of the room. I think you're right. I think this would have done the same thing.
Don't get me started on that. Like, yeah, he can do all the cool stuff, but they don't understand how to be an opener. And plus, I think he had to get to GCW that night.
That's exactly.
They put him on.
He did.
Yep.
He did, but it killed the crowd for the rest of the show. And I think if you had put KO and Sammy on at any other point on this night, it would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think there would have been as much magic as there was if KO and Sammy had gone earlier in the night.
Yeah. But I could go into a whole long spiel about guys knowing their spots on the order of a card and what to do, and it would just break everybody's heart. Speaking of heartbreaking, why did they put Brock Lesnar over Omos?
That's what I want to know.
There's no need. I mean, I can tell you why, and I'll tell you why here in a few minutes when we get to that section.
Correct.
But like, you had a chance. Like, WWE has no believable giants. We're on to night 2 for all of our listeners. They have no believable giants. You had a chance to make Omos that.
Yes.
Let him beat Brock. Brock has nothing to gain. Let him beat Brock, and you have a believable giant. Even if there was interference from MVP, whatever, took 2 dudes. Dude's 7'4". I don't care if he can't wrestle. He's 7'4". He makes Brock look like a baby.
He moves better than any other giant they've had. I think he performs better in the ring. Here's what I had noted down from my watching. I watched night 2 twice. What I noted down my second watch through is WWE got both the images they wanted. They got the image of Omos beating the crap out of Lesnar, and they got the image of Lesnar F5ing Omos.
Yep, that's it.
That was their payoff. They didn't want to push the giant. That was their payoff, was to get both of those images on the show. Yep. But why couldn't have Omos kicked out of the F5 and gone on to win? I agree with you, Johnny. I think that would have been a great call.
Yep. I was driving back from disc golf during the first 2 matches, but like that, I saw that and I just didn't agree with it. Doesn't make sense. Brock's an attraction. Like, he's your big money attraction. Omos needs to be your next big money attraction. You don't have him wrestling every Monday night. You have him standing behind MVP because, I mean, English isn't his first language, so obviously his promo skills are not that good. You have him stand behind MVP. You have him punch somebody in the face and squeeze their head like a grape.
That's about it. Yeah, you can't have him wrestle every Monday night. He's going to fizzle out. His mystique is going to fizzle out. Not only his body is going to fizzle out. You know what I mean? People are going to get tired of seeing it.
I'm with you, Johnny. I didn't like it when Lashley went over on Omos. I'm like, Lesnar's better days are behind him. I mean, he's still a draw. Don't get me wrong. People are still going to come out and watch his matches, but they need another giant. You're right. And they've completely homogenized and bastardized Omos by having him lose to those 2 guys. And when I say those 2 guys, that was a great opportunity for WWE to put a new young star over. That's a monster. I mean, you're going to take him seriously. He beat Brock Lesnar. I don't care if he's 10 feet tall. He still beat Brock, but it didn't happen.
Yep. I agree.
And now Omos's next big match is going to be in a Punjabi prison.
I swear to God.
Hey, I want to see it if he destroys Khali in under 2 minutes.
Jesus. Oh my.
I think Khali.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I think Khali would probably get him too. You're right. Khali's tough.
I think Khali could take him.
I do too. Now Khali now or Khali 15 years ago, because I don't think Khali now probably moved not nearly as well.
But I bet you Khali now's better. He does a lot of stuff over in India.
Right. No, I mean he's still active. You're right. I just know he's probably
Angle. Go ask Justin if who would win. Remember Ref Justin?
Oh yes,
the Twins. Go ask him because he goes over there. Like he's been over there a bunch for it.
Yeah, he does. Yep.
Speaking of a bunch, there were a bunch of people in this next match, wasn't there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there were a few. A few.
The right people won. Anything else? I heard this match wasn't that good. I didn't see it.
At one point,
definitely
Shayna Baszler doesn't have a shoe on, and you don't know how or why she lost it, but
like just kick pad over foot.
Yeah.
Like no. She had a boot on one foot, and then like somebody took off her boot on the other, and so she had like a kick pad down over her foot, like no boot.
And was it me or did Ronda not make it into the ring at all just for the finish?
I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, I understand Ronda's a draw, but she can get she can GTFO.
It was trash. Like she had 0 Fs to give.
Yeah, she can GTFO. Like
Oh yeah.
They got the pop from her. They got, I don't know. Like I understand she's a legitimate threat, but here's the problem. Those two are going to be around a whole lot more, which I'm fine with if they make them legitimate and just have them destroy everybody because they legitimately could annihilate any woman on the roster.
And I'm fine with it if that's what they're going to do. If they're going to be around as a tag team and they need to destroy everybody. I agree.
Yep. The only people they should struggle with are Raquel Rodriguez, Rhea.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yeah, now.
Everybody else, they should just plow through. Sonya, because she has that same background.
Sonya
has that same background. And maybe Natty, but everybody else they should roll through. I don't know. I heard this was a match. No, I mean, I don't know. I didn't watch it.
It trash. Hey, to be nice, it did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah, it got the crowd calmed down for the absolute banger that was the triple threat.
Correct.
And
call the police.
No, that's later.
Oh, wait, sorry. I'm sorry.
No, the police.
No, wait, you're right. No, that's
See?
Call the police.
No, hold on. I'm right. That's later. Nick, I want to start with you on this one. What kind of match do we have here?
We got a horse fight.
And Stripes, what does that mean to everybody?
I don't know. Oh, big meaty men slapping meat. That's what it means.
You almost missed your cue there, man. Come on.
I'm glad you got it because I absolutely had that. I already knew where I was going with it because they just beat the snot out of each other.
Holy
they did.
Crap.
They did.
I mean, they like Drew was already a star. Sheamus was already a star. People who didn't realize Gunther was the next coming of Christ in professional wrestling now do.
They do now. They know now.
Call the police.
Like I when he was starting to get a name for himself, I wasn't familiar with a lot of what he was doing overseas. So I asked friend of the show, Timothy Regal, about him, and he told me he's a guy who should have been in wrestling in the 80s or 70s.
Yep.
I was like, cool. I like that. And I started watching him, and he smacks the soul out of people with one hand. And
here's my only issue with this match, and I don't want any shit for this. It is not an issue. This match was phenomenal. I would have liked to see Sheamus get his Grand Slam championship. That's my only problem, and that's not a problem because Gunther deserves to be where he's at.
I will not give you shit with that because I absolutely agree. I would love to see Sheamus get his Grand Slam, just not yet. And here's why. Gunther needs a little bit longer on that. And here's what he needs to do. They need to treat it like they did in TNA with the X Division Championship. He holds on to that thing for so damn long that he finally just goes, I want to step up. So I'm just going to do a tournament here. I give this up. I want a shot at the world title. Doesn't need to earn it because he's had a title run of 400 days, whatever.
Yeah.
When they are ready to move him up, let Sheamus get it then. But Gunther has brought prestige to that title while Roman's been holding on to both of his for almost 1,000 days and not being there every week. He is doing too good of a job to let it go yet.
You know, you mentioned Roman's 2 titles, and we'll get to the main event in a little bit here, Johnny, but what's your opinion on Roman holding both the titles?
I'm fine. There's not enough guys who are ready for it, honestly. That's the problem. They painted themselves into a corner with the brand split where they weren't building up enough guys to be legitimate threats to that main event scene. You're only going to have 3 or 4 guys. Well, you can only do so many matches with that. Now they've had it. Now you can legitimately say Gunther's up there. Sheamus is up there. Drew's up there. Drew, I would love to see Drew get another run in front of people because he did not
agree
get
with that.
You can put Bobby back up there in front of people.
Yep.
Now you have that opportunity because there's only been one guy on both shows, so these other people have had a chance to build up.
No, I totally could get behind that, and maybe that's the frustrating thing. Once we get to the main event, that you thought maybe we'd have more resolution on the title picture with the 2 belts and stuff. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but yeah, I thought Sheamus was going to win this match. I thought they would keep Gunther strong and have McIntyre take the fall. So Gunther then had the legit gripe, but hey, if they're going to keep him. I mean, they love him. Triple H and company absolutely love this guy. So they'll do it when the time's ready, when they feel it's right. But I think it's going to be sooner rather than later.
I give it
without a doubt.
I think.
What's that, Johnny?
I was away from the mic. I give it by SummerSlam. I think a lot of your guys' worries and things you don't like come this summer, and by the end of the summer will be completely different. I think a lot of things will change over the summer to give them direction. And
I think so too.
Start closing long stories and start pulling things different ways.
Right.
Speaking of closing long stories, I believe this next one was a year in the making. The Hell in a Cell. What did everybody think?
You're getting ahead of us a little bit. We have the women's title match to talk about there.
Oh yeah,
first.
I forgot about that one. It should have been Asuka.
It should have been Asuka.
That's not a knock to Bianca at all. She at that moment, by the end of that night, it was 365 days. That's absolutely fine. Who in the French toast is going to beat her now?
Yeah.
Asuka, I mean, you bring back Kana, which is Asuka's crazy gimmick, crazy persona.
Yep.
What do you do? And to be fair, they played him too goody the whole time. Like Asuka should have been spraying her with mist every week on Raw. Like,
yeah, there wasn't enough
just the tease
of that evil Asuka.
Yeah. Like I get it, but it should have been.
Yeah,
Asuka.
I mean, she wasn't. Who am I supposed to boo here? She wasn't. I mean, she wasn't really doing anything for me to not like her. Yeah. So I wish they would have pulled the trigger and given it to Asuka here. No disrespect to Bianca. What she's done has been amazing.
No.
But I feel it's Asuka's time, and that could have righted the wrong when they screwed her over at Mania a few years ago.
I don't know. It was a real good match.
Yes, it was. Oh, I absolutely love this match.
I think the only thing I noticed was they slipped off the ropes when Asuka was pulling on her braid. They weren't set right. That got jumbled a little bit, but other than that, both ladies did amazing. I just really feel like it should have been the end of Bianca's reign.
Oh, for sure. This is a 100% a missed opportunity on WWE's part. I have in my notes for this one, that they had a lot to live up to after night one and Charlotte and Rhea just knocking it out of the park, but I don't think it was as good as the SmackDown Championship match, but it was still a fantastic match. Little musical interlude for us. No, of course. Go ahead, Nick.
No, you're right. This one had its work cut out for it to stand up to Charlotte and Rhea. But like Mr. Wisdom said earlier, Charlotte and Rhea had a lot longer storyline, a little better build to it. We knew who we were supposed to cheer for, even though, it was Rhea's coronation. I like the match. I wish I was, hey, we want to be shocked. We want to be surprised. We don't want to know everything. When Bayley won, I was like, wow, okay. I really thought they were going to give it to Asuka. So clap off, props to them for surprising me or maybe surprising a lot of people. But I really thought they were going to give it to Asuka this time.
Now, of course, after this, we have to talk about Shane McMahon.
Snoop Dogg!
Shane, not to be outdone by Vince, Shane takes a huge jump, leapfrogging over the Miz, and just completely tears out his quad.
Like father, like
son. Why?
I know they do.
At least he didn't tear both of them.
I know security is really good in that building and they pat everybody down, but Shane McMahon took on some sniper fire like I ain't seen in a while.
I mean,
that leg turned into silly putty really quick.
But can we talk about Snoop just covering really quickly? Like, I understand
that was amazing.
He did great.
Like you could hear the ref telling him what to do, but like he didn't miss a beat.
No.
And can we talk about the most devastating finishing move I have ever seen in my life?
Yeah. It was the puppy elbow. The doggy elbow. What do you call it? The doggy elbow?
I was afraid when he hit those ropes that they were going to snap.
Oh. hey, his ribs or the ropes?
Both.
That was the hardest I've ever seen anybody hit the ropes. Wow.
Yeah. He was ready to go.
You want to talk about being ready to go? When he took them glasses off, can we talk about how high that man was?
Oh,
did you see how?
I think he was so high he didn't realize where he was.
It looked like that man hadn't slept in days.
He thought he was in AEW still.
Golly.
Whoa.
And like I understand like the pops and the surprises, but like I love Pat McAfee. Shane McMahon's fine, but those aren't worth that time slot. Like you can give that time to other matches. You can, especially on a Sunday, like be done before 10:30 when kids got to go to school and parents got to go to work. Like put all that stuff on a Saturday. If they're gonna run 2 nights, like let Saturday run long. I can live with Saturday running long.
Yeah,
till 11:30, whatever.
You mentioned giving that to other people, giving that slot to other people. I'm going to agree with you, but I'm not going to be the one to agree with you.
That's fine. He should have been there too.
Yeah.
I needed to plug that up a little bit, but
you need to turn that up a little bit and have it be more than one. Yeah.
Well, I can do one of those.
You can find an audio clip of him going crazy and snip it over.
Oh, I've found a couple.
How do you have WrestleMania in LA?
There you go.
You don't have LA Night.
Yeah. It was a missed opportunity. It was something that they should have.
Okay, so I'm going to cut you off because here's what they should have done. Cut out cut out one of the Miz's 3 matches he had, put it on one night, have him do the surprise, but have him have a 5-minute actual match with LA Knight and let LA Knight go over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yes, I can agree
imagine
with that.
how crazy everybody would have went for that open challenge, and I think his music starts with the and that just hits, and out this man comes. Crowd would have lost it.
Yes, they would have.
I agree.
I would have lost it.
Guilty pleasure. My current universe mode on WWE 2K is running as LA Knight.
Yeah.
I'm playing the singles career, and that is who I picked to just be my guy.
Mr. Tim, that was me saying clips of him going crazy, not Stripes, but we won't talk about that. Learn your friends' voices. So I believe we are on to one of the most awkward matches, but still a really good one. The Hell in the Cell, am I correct?
You are correct,
yes.
sir.
Okay. There was another missed opportunity here. You're going to have Brood Edge. You're going to have
no Brood.
With the rumors that Tony Khan gave his good gracious for Christian to go do this. And I'm pretty sure you could have got Gangrel and have them all come up from the fire pit.
Yep. It was a lost.
You're going to have this match and not have the rest of Judgment Day try to interfere and then have them come out. Similar to Sting and Hunter when NWO and DX came out.
Correct.
Yeah.
You are going to have this match and a man is going to get hit in the head with a ladder and you're just going to stop for 5 minutes and kill all momentum that this match had. But God, did they beat the snot out of each other.
They did.
They did.
I mean, at the moment, I looked at it like, why are you stopping this? But after seeing what transpired with the ladder and the head.
After seeing it backstage and seeing how big that gash was, I think it took 14 staples.
14 staples, you are correct. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So, and I was talking to another former SCWPro champion and Hall of Famer, Nevin Knoxville, about this while we were watching. Matches like this are when WWE needs to let their no blood rule go.
Yep.
The build up for this, the personal issues with this, easily Edge should have made Finn a bloody mess. If you really think about it, this man and his groupies tried to kill your wife by smashing her head between 2 chairs.
And I think that's why Finn also chose the type of face paint he did, just because he knew that he was possibly going to get some color. And I think that's what hid most of it was his black and purple face paint.
Yeah. But it should have been it should have been, there shouldn't have been a maybe. It should have been mount and just bust him open in the eyebrow. It's what it should have been. Edge should have went nuts for the first 10 minutes of this.
Yeah.
And just beat the snot out of Finn. I personally think Finn should have won. I understand that you give Edge the win on this one because they got over on him so many times before. But once again, Edge goes where? He's probably going to disappear for a few months, like his contract says, or his contract's up.
Yeah.
I
hope his contract's not up.
I think it's up this year.
Okay.
That's the rumor that I've heard is it's up this year.
But Finn and the Judgment Day have been hot. So you only put Rhea over in that?
Yeah.
Ray absolutely should have got up on Dom. Because Dom's been getting up on Ray through every family holiday and all of that. Finn absolutely should have got up on this one. Because, once again, Finn needs to go back to the top of the card. He is too good not to be up there.
Yep.
You're right.
So
I agree.
And I think it was less than I thought it should be, but I also think that's a lot to do with Finn not being able to feel his head at all because they numbed him and put a staple in right there at ringside.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know. It just, after that, it just seemed to go real quick and just stuff seemed, so I don't know if they just got lost or they jumped to risk less injury or whatever, but they beat the piss out of each other, but I thought it should be more gritty and just more.
I honestly think between Shane and Finn in getting injured, that night one would have gone a half an hour longer if they hadn't. Or night two, I'm sorry. Night two would have gone a half hour longer if they hadn't.
I could have seen that, yeah.
Yeah. Can we talk about Edge's wings on his entrance, though? Those are
cool.
Yes.
Only thing I didn't like is the fact that they were in LA where it was like still daylight.
Yeah.
Finn's entrance didn't have the effect. Neither one of those entrances has the effect it should have.
Yeah.
That was the only thing.
His wings kind of reminded me of that creature from Jeepers Creepers. That yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
You mean the Jeeper, the Creeper?
Yeah, the Creeper. Yeah,
the main character of the movie.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, that's.
You're welcome.
Whatever.
Shut up. Oh my God. I hope you step on a Lego.
So, talking about Finn, I want to kind of compare and contrast here because that was one of two big injuries over the weekend on a big show. WWE.
Well, it's the big show.
Why did you back out of it, you pansy? All right, what were
it's the big bad show tonight.
There you go.
So
good old Doc Hendricks.
WWE repeatedly showed the hit to the head with Finn. Turn that over to, let's talk a little bit about Dante Martin in ROH. I know Nick and I touched on that last Friday, but ROH did not show that any more than the first time it happened. Yet WWE was repeating that ladder shot got shown at least 5 times before the match was over.
So I can argue that the graphic nature of the two are vastly different.
I can agree with that, but it comes down to your policy on that kind of thing, because it was a pretty, if Finn hadn't been wearing the face paint, I would disagree with you.
Oh,
but because
absolutely.
Finn was wearing the face paint, I agree that it's a different type of horrific scene.
Right.
But still, you got to look at who's right in this situation. Do you repeatedly show an injury that is as bad as it is, or do you not?
I honestly think they were trying to figure out where it happened themselves, because it does not look like he gets blasted in the top of the head like that from any angle.
No, it didn't. Yeah.
Like and it's funny that it happened when it did, because I was talking to Nevin about giving up their blood policy, and not even 2 minutes later that happened. And he goes, "Oh, there it is." I'm like, "What? Where'd that come from? Like, what? What'd he take?" And you couldn't tell. So I think they were trying to figure it out. But yes, like, are they going to make that whole scene black and white in any replays like they do any other time? Yeah. Why didn't the referee put on his gloves right away like they normally do? Like, there was a lot. So, I mean, either show it once or don't show it at all.
Yeah.
Yes, you can absolutely show the replay, because they showed it right after it happened. Like, oh my God, look at this. That happened 30 seconds ago that I legitimately just watched. Cool. But that's also the terrible production of who's leading the production truck. So we won't mention names there.
The amount of times that they showed it was just a bit too much, in my opinion, because of the nature of the injury, especially now that Finn has published that picture of the gash that he took.
Yeah.
But yeah, kudos to ROH for not giving us a WCW Sin situation where Sid Vicious completely destroyed his leg, and they repeatedly showed that. I think you're right.
Worse. I think so too.
Sid's just went to the side. Dante's foot was turned all the way around.
Yep.
Ooh. Well,
that's going to take 9 months off of his career, right? He
probably
9 months or more. I mean, my goodness,
he won't be good until next year. I promise you.
Yeah.
So I do believe that leads us to the most anticipated match of the weekend.
Absolutely.
You are correct.
You know, one thing that was missed here, they did not include the start of Dusty's music in Cody's. If that's what it was all about, start it. Like he's got that and whatever the instrumental is, do the American Dream part and then go into his.
I can agree with that. I think that was definitely a missed opportunity. I've heard a couple people talking about whether or not Cody should have paid tribute to Dusty's time in the WWE by coming out in polka dots. I'm glad he did not.
I say no, because I'll say no to that as well, because that was legitimately a punishment.
I agree.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was a punishment when he came back.
Yeah.
He should have came out in blue jeans and a flannel and a cowboy hat if he wanted to pay homage to his dad.
Yeah, that is very true. I think there being a lack of any kind of tribute to Dusty was a big missed opportunity on this front here.
Yeah. Roman's entrance was super dope. I think he wins the new Undertaker award for longest entrance.
Yes.
Yep. He did. Yes, he does.
Which is fine. That's his character. It's fine. Absolutely fine.
He is the end boss.
But my God, did they tell a goddamn story?
Oh yes.
I will 100% say we do pick the winners with a small group of us.
Yep.
I picked Roman because I know, but at one point I was like, man, I was wrong. They're gonna do it. They're gonna, and that's just. I mean, that's just
storytelling right there.
I think it was when Cody was getting ready. I think he was just hitting everything right in a row.
Yep.
And I was like, no, they are gonna do it. Wow, I didn't expect this.
I had a secret hope that Roman would win because of the history, because I want to see him get over Pedro Morales and possibly even surpass Bruno Sammartino's second title reign. That would put him at 1,200 and change. Let me look.
I bet you they will, because I bet you he keeps it till SummerSlam, and that's like 200 days, isn't it?
Right around there, yeah.
Like I said, a lot of things, I promise you, a lot of things by SummerSlam will be different, and I think that'll be one. He will lose it at SummerSlam.
I mean, is
Cody the one that takes it off him?
Nope. Cody's character, and here's what's going to make so many of your listeners mad. It's going to make so many of them mad. Here's how it's going to go. Here's how it's going to go. Cody lost, right?
Yep.
So Cody's character is a chaser. Because what's been his tagline this whole time? Finish my story.
Yep.
His character is absolutely going to get there for 90 to 100 days. Because you want to see him chase. He does better chasing. Who's the one man that during this whole title run Roman didn't beat clean? Was that Royal Rumble?
Seth Rollins.
Yep.
Seth Rollins.
Because what have they been poking at lately? They put the list up of everybody he beat. Seth Rollins there's still the one or whatever he said. Here's what's going to happen. Cody lost. Seth comes around. Seth beats Roman. Seth wins the championships. Cody comes back around to Seth. Cody takes him off of Seth. Cody can absolutely get his day in the sun, but it's not going to be off of Roman.
With Roman.
Right. I thought I like what you said. I kind of thought this is what they should have done since Cody had 3 wins on Seth. But then when Cody came back, Seth's got the belt and Cody's chasing him. Now we just get a little bit later, but yeah, I
absolutely could have seen them if Cody wouldn't have blown his pec out. I could absolutely see him working to WrestleMania and winning at WrestleMania in the main event.
Yep.
And here's just to kind of backtrack a little bit here. Pedro Morales has held the title for 1,027 days. After that, Bruno Sammartino's second reign was 1,237 days. That would put Roman at number 4 if he surpasses Sammartino. If he goes even beyond that, if he can make it to 1,474, he beats Hulk Hogan.
Wow, 14.
I don't think they're going to have 14.
Him. I don't see it.
I don't either. I definitely don't see him surpassing Bob Backlund or Bruno's first reign with the championship. But
he'll get to 1,000.
I question their decision making if he passed Hogan.
I think he'll be he'll be number 4 if he goes past 1,200.
Yeah. 4 as far as who has held the reigns, 5 in the longevity of the reigns, because Sammartino is on there twice.
Yeah. Either way, they're gonna put him over 1,000. He's gonna lose it at SummerSlam. That's what I'm telling you right now.
So I had secret hope that Roman would win because of the historical value and putting him higher up on the list. But I was rooting for Cody. I was sitting with Nick at the Highview Lounge when the Usos and KO and Sammy came out. I looked right over at Nick. I'm like, Roman has this. Roman's winning.
You want to know what that also might lead to? And I could see him doing it.
A triple 6-man tag.
6-man tag, winner take all.
Yeah, I can see that.
Usos get their belts back, or that's how they split them. There you go. Everybody wants Cody. Everybody wants Cody to win. Everybody wants Cody to win, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What was the one thing he pointed to when he came back? He's like, I need that. It wasn't those belts. It was the WWE. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Here you go, Cody. 6-man tag, winner take all. You didn't read the contract. You only get one of them.
Yeah. I can see that.
Belts are split. Cody can bring back the Winged Eagle or whatever one they want to bring back. There you go. That'll make all.
As long as it doesn't have his American Nightmare logo right in the center of the goddamn belt, I'm fine with that.
Will it spin? Can it spin?
It'll spin.
Oh, make it spin. No.
Make that spin.
Shame on you all.
No, spinner belt was amazing, especially the rated R one.
The rated R one was good.
Yes.
But I mean, and people are going to argue, why didn't the ref DQ Roman when he saw Solo out there? Because Solo did a terrible job of hiding, like you should when you've been kicked out of ringside. It was so good. They had everybody by the twig and berries, and then they just pulled the rug out from underneath.
This was supposed to be Cody's coronation.
The majority of the people just lost their crap. And
I think everybody just left too. How I said a lot of people hung out after KO and Sammy won.
You're right.
I think everybody left.
I'll go out and say I think this is the best main event since 26 for Mania.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not going to count 31 with the cash in. I'm talking advertised main event. This was the best main event, in my opinion, since 26. You can maybe argue 30 with the crowd, everything, but these guys told a story, and with the ending that it had, the shock of that crowd, like you said, CZ, that everybody was there to watch Cody win the belt. And I like Cody, and I like this reign of Romans, and I think they're this far in. They're not going to stop until he gets over 1,000. So, and Cody's a better chaser. Johnny said that earlier. So when Cody does win now, Everybody will get to rejoice. It won't be at WrestleMania like they had planned, but
6 months tops.
It'll be better for business. It'll be a better story.
Cody will win it at a big one, lose it at a big one. 6 months tops will be his title reign.
Yeah.
He doesn't have more gas in him than that.
No.
He doesn't. He absolutely doesn't.
True. Very true.
I agree.
So we got a couple more big things to talk about before we wrap up the night.
So thankfully, the next thing we need to talk about, not a whole lot happened, so it won't take us a whole lot of time.
That's true. The big thing, though, that happened between Night 2 closing and Monday Night Raw is WWE announced the sale. They are now part of Endeavor, which is the parent company of the UFC.
It was a merger.
And changes, fair. But changes are in store.
Did you just cuss me out? I think he
cussed
me out.
Oh, he hit the cough. He hit the cough.
I hit the cough button.
He said,
I would be more blatant. See, I would do something like that. That didn't happen. I'm sorry.
See, here's the great thing, though, because you have the background you do, no one could tell which finger that was. It just looked like your pointer finger. It's fine.
It just looked like the pointer finger. That was awesome.
The world will never know.
So, as CZ was saying, there was a sale, merger, combination, whatever you want to call it, of the two big American sports combat companies under the Endeavor parent company of the UFC brand. From what I read, they will stay separate. The current president of the Endeavor and the UFC side will stay over there, and WWE will be their thing. They just now are publicly traded together as like a 21 point something $billion sports combat entertainment company.
And what I did read too, also, I read
you don't read.
I do read. They were saying that
only books with pictures.
With pictures, that's right, big pictures. They were saying that a lot of what UFC does and what WWE does, production wise, is kind of the same. So the nice thing is that they're going to kind of merge those two together, and
so UFC is going to be even more rigged than it already is.
That's right.
So here's the silly thing. The biggest part of this was to get more legitimacy and reason for sports betting on WWE.
Yep.
That is one of the reasons why they went where they did. Because if you notice commercials, I think Monday night, there was a lot of DraftKings commercials about betting on what was going to happen, what was going to be used first, all of that BS.
Not only DraftKings, but Stripes' favorite WWE wrestler was a part of those commercials, Mr. Baron Corbin.
Oh, you know who we didn't talk about all of WrestleMania, who only came out for 2 matches? Titus O'Neil. Can we get a round of applause for Titus O'Neil, please? Still
Call the police.
Call the
Somebody
police.
Call the police.
So I just want Mr. Timothy Regal, as he's listening, you are going to lose so much money if you start betting on wrestling, you schmuck.
Okay, here's the question: how much money would have Regal lost on that main event of Mania Night 2?
All of it. He would have lost all of it. Just on the main event. That man said he was done with wrestling.
Yeah,
I'm all in.
That's what he's gonna go watch now.
All in.
Can we get all right? So they got sold, and the changes are already being seen. Can we talk about the abysmal Raw after Mania?
Oh, can we please?
Matt Riddle's back, everybody.
Who cares?
Yay!
Bro,
He beat up Miz in a suit.
That was it.
That was the
overdone.
return. So the show started with Hunter coming out and addressing and kind of what I assume is telling everybody that without saying there was a sale, and nothing on our end is going to change. Very rah-rah of them, right?
I have a bad feeling that's going to be Hunter's goodbye.
I think you're correct.
But I did read again. I read that Endeavor was unhappy with what happened on Monday Night Raw, and they are going to see what happens on SmackDown when Mr. Levesque is in charge.
Oh, we'll get to that, Heather. Don't you worry. I can tell you exactly the purpose of that. She asked what was the purpose of Lesnar turning on Cody. We will absolutely get to that because I can tell you.
I can too.
I can absolutely tell you. We're probably on the same page, Honorable Man, of with the purchase and everything. So there was the rah-rah from Hunter, which I don't know if that was he basically took the talent meeting and brought it to the audience and kind of like, hey, everything's cool. Don't worry about what you're hearing, X, Y, and Z. I did not read what Stripes read about Endeavor not being happy with the most abysmal Raw after Mania ever.
I'll tell you what I read. I read that Mr. Vince had his hands all over the place in Raw.
So that's what I read as well. But what I also read, because Vince is still going to be executive chair. Essentially, he will have 49% of the company. Endeavor will have 51%. Right. He will still have the final say over creative. Hunter is supposed to be in Gorilla, which is where everything's kind of ran from.
Yeah.
There was the possibility that he was only there because he was doing the sell, I assume, signing paperwork in LA or Vegas or what. He was just there for Mania, showed up, kind of pulled muscle. Now, Friday will be the real test, because if he goes home and then flies out to Seattle, then they're about to lose a lot of people.
Yeah.
There are going to be a lot of talents walking out. There are going to be a lot of talents letting their contracts run up. There are going to be a lot of guys trying to take off his Pink Panther villain mustache. So I think hopefully they saw that this Raw was abysmal, got terrible ratings, was not exciting, was not a good bookend to the great WrestleMania weekend.
Oh,
nope. It was terrible.
So we had Hunter come out. What else was there?
Right after Hunter came out, Roman came out, and this crowd was hot. They had wanted nothing to do with Roman Reigns. Right at Roman did his Hollywood acknowledge me, and Cody came out. They had words. Essentially, Paul Heyman and the Tribal Chief said, "Hey, you're never getting a rematch." Tough shit.
Yep. I liked it. It was a good little segment.
Up to this point, Raw is going pretty decent.
It's going fine.
I like the build for the tag match.
Most random partner ever, but it's fine.
But understandable, because the commentating team talked about how Brock Lesnar had a stipulation.
Yeah,
he couldn't go for the title anymore.
Right? Yes, everything that got laid out stipulation wise for Cody, Brock already did. Now, exactly. I like how they swerved everybody with how Paul said somebody who wrestled at WrestleMania this weekend, because there was a lot of scuttlebutt that one Zack Ryder was going to make his return to WWE and be Cody's partner.
Oh,
now there was also a lot that got rewritten during the show and right before the show started that could have been what was supposed to happen, because there was a supposedly advertised like triple threat ladies match as well that never happened. Turned into the tag match we saw.
Yeah.
What happened next? I don't have the rundown.
After the Roman Cody segment, Omos came out and just completely destroyed Elias because who cares?
For no reason.
Yeah.
I legitimately believe that one got thrown in last minute and Omos was in catering.
Yep.
He's over there eating a rib.
Can we talk about how Omos looked like he fell asleep in his tank top and woke up with a titty out?
Oh boy. Yeah, that
It's after 10. It's after 10 o'clock. I can go PG-13.
Every
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep, you
Kids
can.
are in bed.
It's after
your
10.
kids to bed, people.
Skinamax is on.
Jesus.
Silk stockings coming up after Raw.
Silk stockings.
What was the Pamela Anderson one? What was it? Where she got the legitimate barbed wire tattoo?
Oh, I know what you're talking about, and I can't think of it.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Nick knows.
Easy
Nick's
there,
gonna find
honorable
out.
one.
There's nothing honorable about what he's looking up right now.
No, I was just going to say that.
That's why you don't see the face. Filmography. I like how they say that. It's barbed wire.
Oh, sure. All right.
Well, that was easier than it had to be.
That was anticlimactic. Like much
I
of this
know,
Monday
right?
Night Raw.
Like much of Raw.
Her name,
So
her screen name is Barbara Kopetsky.
Oh.
That might win you a trivia question someday, but yeah, it was barbed wire.
So after the Omos debacle, was it the KO? And Sammy,
then we
or
see.
Was it Bianca?
Not yet. We see the Usos backstage trying to get into the Tribal Chiefs dressing room. Paul Heyman shoos them away, and my favorite part of the whole segment, as the Usos are walking away, you hear Paul go back in after he told them that Roman is not in the room.
Yeah.
I took care of it, my Tribal Chief.
Which that was even kind of lackluster. I mean, that was just like
no Angle.
I mean,
stripes.
I don't know.
Stripes. What has all of the Bloodline story been? A slow build.
Yeah.
Who didn't save Roman? Who made sure Roman won? Not the Usos. Solo.
Yeah.
Who gets to be by his side? Solo.
Yeah.
Who lost their titles?
Solo.
The Usos.
Yeah.
Here comes the deception. Here comes the fall of the Bloodline that will take us through SummerSlam.
Very true.
I promise you.
No, yeah.
It'll end up being Solo and Roman versus the Usos. There it is. That'll be the big blow off of that.
After that little backstage blurb, we get the Hall of Fame recap, and then we see that Bad Bunny is in the house. Rey Mysterio comes out, and here's where we get the battle of the sponsorship. It is Austin Theory Beyblade against Cinnamon Toast Crunch Rey Mysterio.
Yep.
Great match. Very, very solid match.
It was a good match. Yeah. But
first off, for anybody that didn't see, Bad Bunny was there. They interviewed him talking about Backlash being in Puerto Rico for the first time in like 30 years. Yep. Right? It's a really long time. I don't remember the dates.
I'm not sure either off the top of my head, but yeah, it's been about 30 years.
It's been a hot minute. So we
get a bit more than a cup of coffee.
I don't know the dates either, but yeah,
we get a great match between Ray and Austin. Out comes everybody's favorite son, Dominic. Out comes Dominic.
Love Dominic Mysterio. He's got Damian Priest with him, of course.
Okay, so Ray and Dom get into it, right? Dom gets Bad Bunny's face. Bad Bunny punches him right in the mouth. Damian tries to stop it. God, tries to stop him. Nothing. Nah. Can we talk about how Damian Priest just threw Bad Bunny through that table like he was nothing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that shows you that Damian Priest is stronger than they're letting him just portray. And the one thing I did like about that is that he
felt bad about it.
He did. He felt bad about it. He kind of was like, no, don't do it. He kind of pushed him back, and he was like, no, because last time we saw Bad Bunny, they were a tag team.
Yep.
So that was good storytelling by them. You know, he was kind of like, no, I don't want to do this, back up. And then once he did attack Dom, he was like, oh, all bets are off.
So here's what's going to happen. There's two things that came out of this. Obviously, we're getting Ray and Bad Bunny versus Dom and Damian at Backlash in Puerto Rico. That's going to be your main event.
That's going to be,
Here's what's going to happen at SummerSlam. Write it down. Here's another one of those endings at SummerSlam that I was telling you about.
Hey, can I do the Chris Jericho?
Yep.
Okay. I'm writing it down.
So Ray and Dom should have been done at WrestleMania, right? That's what they made it look like. Didn't happen, right? Dom came out, beat him up. SummerSlam, Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio, hair versus mask. Ray loses, Ray retires.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. I think that's what's going to happen.
I can get behind that.
With the caveat, Vicky Guerrero comes back for it. Her contract's done. They mutually agreed not to renew. I know she's got some side projects. She loves what they're doing with the Dom stuff and the Eddie, like all of that stuff.
Yeah.
She comes back. Ray retires.
I agree.
Dom gets the mask, and then Dom goes on a face run because he realized what he did, and he takes the mask. And he becomes, I believe it was Prince Mysterio was what he wanted to do under a mask.
Oh.
I believe that's what it was.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I know a little something.
Yeah. I wrote it down. So hey, I'm going to date it and time it. So when it happens, we'll give credit where credit's due.
Then what's next?
Next is what you were hoping to talk about, and that's KO and Sammy.
Oh no, this isn't what I was hoping to talk about. It was fine.
Well,
I mean, I would have liked this to be like a call up or the rumored repairing of one Tommaso Ciampa and one Johnny Gargano as DIY would have been a perfect time to do that.
I had thought they were going to call up Pretty Deadly. I thought
that was supposed to be in another spot on the show.
Yeah.
A very awkward spot.
Okay.
So you get Street Profits, which is fine. Good match.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, that was probably one of the highlights of the night. Because I think this was the only other match on the card. In a 3-hour show, I think this was the only other actual match. There was a ladies tag. Never mind. There was a ladies tag match.
Yeah. Yep.
But there was like 3 matches or something. Something real silly.
You want Mustafa, Bob?
Oh yeah, the Mustafa and Bobby.
Mustafa.
All right. Anybody?
Before we
else?
get to that,
I don't know do you count Bobby Lashley and Mustafa?
Yeah.
That didn't last hardly.
No. What were you saying, CZ?
I was just gonna say, our boy Rollins comes out solely to be serenaded by the crowd.
So here is apparently where Pretty Deadly was supposed to be called in, which makes perfect sense if they put him with Rollins with his fashionista type thing. So there's a fan video going around of during the commercial break, production saying something to Seth. He comes out in that outfit, gets told something during the commercial break. You come back from a commercial break to him just being serenaded and leaves, mic in hand. So something got this is one of those things where something got changed on the fly right before it happened. That was going around a lot. But you can see the video of him coming out, getting told something, and then just going to the back after getting serenaded. Because I thought I had missed something completely because I went up to bed and had to reload it on the upstairs TV.
Yeah, they came back and he's in the ring and then nothing happens and I'm like, what did I just watch?
It did seem weird, but yet we didn't get a call up this Raw, did we?
No, not at all.
I'm perfectly fine with no call-ups. A, save them for whatever draft they're going to do, and B, they are holding back on calling people up just to call them up. They want them to have a direction because it has bit them in the backside so many times of let's call up so-and-so for the pop or because he's ready, and then they have nothing. And then you lose whatever.
Maybe not ready. Yeah.
You lose whatever momentum that person had coming from NXT if they were a hot commodity there. Dexter Lumis, Ciampa, Bronson, like a lot of those guys that got released, that got brought back, they got brought up just to get brought up and then had nothing and then got released. So I'm fine with no call-ups.
I can agree with that. It makes sense when you look at it in the bigger picture.
Don't call them if they're not ready. You're right. But apparently they were going to call it Pretty Deadly, and then who else? You said we thought Pretty Deadly, and
that was the only one I saw.
That was the only one, yeah.
Okay.
I think a lot of people were expecting Breaker to get called up too, but I don't know if
he does. I bet you he goes to SmackDown.
You're probably right.
That could be one. He shows up on SmackDown because SmackDown will still have a thing or two.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Just to kind of breeze over the rest of the card to get to the meat and potatoes of Monday Night Raw, the big talking point. Bronson Reed comes out and says Lashley taught him how to lose, and that eventually Lashley will learn his lesson, and that leads to Ali coming and getting in Bobby Lashley's face, and then getting his butt kicked in the ring.
I'm all for Bronson and Lashley. It'll be a banger.
Oh, yeah.
And I like that they're giving Bronson a character like this. Just whatever he's doing, however he's dressing, he needs to keep it up. I love it.
Yep, I agree.
If you're still sticking around and listening, do we get to the elephant in the room now?
Yeah, let's talk about.
I'm sure we all got a hot take on it, but let's talk about the main event of last night's match. It was teased and made in the first segment. After Triple H had left the ring, we have Solo Sikoa Roman Reigns taking on Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar.
Okay. I will start this. And here's what I didn't understand, and then I took today to think about it. Didn't understand why would Brock turn? What drives his character to turn? He won at WrestleMania. He has nothing to be angry about. Cody lost. Cody's getting the same treatment as him. What would cause him to turn? There's nothing that makes sense there.
Yeah.
Here's why they did it. They get bought by UFC's parent company, right? Brock Lesnar is a legitimate UFC badass and spanked multiple people, broke a dude's eyeball with one shot. So they want the UFC people to turn on the TV and still see Brock Lesnar destroying people. That's exactly why.
Okay.
It's not because of any character-driven anything. It's because, and this is one of those Vince McMahon hands in the pot thing. It's two things. Probably making Brock happy because Brock wasn't happy when Vince got fired. He walked out. They had to beg him to come back.
Yeah.
Two, your partner now, someone who owns the majority of your stocks, you have a former champion of theirs that has not been that beast, that monster. It's exactly why they did it. It's for nothing more than to pull those UFC guys and see Brock Lesnar kicking ass and name value. 100%.
So what you're saying is they buried Cody for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cody now doesn't get a title shot. Doesn't get anything. Now he might have to go through what was that famous line his dad said? Hard times.
Hard times, daddy. Hard times, daddy.
So I could see him going through hard times and going through all of these to finally get his way back at SummerSlam or whatever. Or, like I said, Seth comes in, beats Roman, or Cody beats Seth.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Johnny, I like how you put it in the terms of, the UFC guys wanted Brock Lesnar there. I looked at it different, and I probably looked at it, and it's probably not right, but I look at it as, Vinnie Mac flexing his muscle. His whole job was to oversee the sale so he could be a part of, decision making. His guy, Brock, is out there taking out who everybody wants to see ascend, Triple H's guy, Cody. Mm-hmm. I just kind of saw that. That's the symbolism I kind of saw with that.
That's I can very much see that.
And right, wrong, or indifferent, where it's not, I just kind of like, as much as we don't want to say it, Vince McMahon got the last laugh. And
absolutely.
And proved it last night. Now, before last night, so up to Raw, I know people were upset about Cody losing and all this. Oh, he's getting buried. Up until last night, you could not say that. He came back at Mania. He beat Seth. He beat Seth 2 more times.
Right.
Gets hurt, wins the Rumble, and then headlines Mania. He really didn't go through anybody. He didn't have to climb his way. Yes, he won the Rumble. I get it. So up until last night,
from number 30,
he wasn't getting buried. But now you can say, yeah, he's getting buried.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird. I'm willing to let it play out. Like I can understand it.
I am too.
But once again, Cody's character does better from underneath when he has a driving force. Now, does Cody go into a thing with Brock and then beat Brock? Sure, why not?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Poke him in the eyeball. Roll him up. 1, 2, 3. There's your finish.
Perfect.
Well, gentlemen, it is official. This has been the longest episode so far of Card Subject to Change, but we had a lot to talk about today.
That's because I reeled it in. We could have hit 3 hours easily.
We could have.
Oh, yeah, I have no doubt. Thank you so much, Johnny, for coming on. Appreciate your perspective on everything.
Not a problem.
Johnny, what do you got coming up this weekend?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say.
Well, it is SCWPro's biggest show of the year, Epic. On that show, you can see the SCWPro Championship on the line as JT Energy takes on the Devil Dog, Dustin Mosley. You will see just announced little Black and Brave graduating class special as international superstar Dante Leon takes on Jossie. But what you're really going to see is me kick the ever-living crap out of Cornboy Crotch and Shane Hollister for the Iowa title.
Yes.
Right. That's right.
Now, I know it was announced that JT Energy and Dustin Mosley, they're going to open up the show. Are you guys main eventing? Do you know yet?
No idea. I don't care where I'm at on the card. I'm going to poke them all in the eyeball, and I'm going to create my legacy in SCW. I have nothing. I have nothing. I have no legacy. I have no children. I have no family. I have no nothing. This is my legacy. I've spent 20 years making sure that wrestling is predominant in Eastern Iowa. Every wrestling company that has come through Eastern Iowa, I have been a champion in. Angle can attest to that.
Yes, sir.
Those 3 men don't know anything. They have nothing to lose. I am a broken man. I am going to hurt them. I am going to rip their nose off. I am going to rip their ear off. I am going to knock their teeth out. I hope they're ready. And if they're listening, I really hope they're ready. Because I am a broken man with nothing to lose and a legacy to build.
Once this gets uploaded to Spotify, I'm going to tag this time code, and I'm going to tag them on Twitter. Make sure that they hear it.
Yes, for sure.
Pull your nose off.
I'm going to pull their nose off by the inside. I am going to grab it from the inside and pull it out. Did you guys ever see Three Ninjas where the youngest one took the chopsticks?
Hey.
And
yes.
Hey, what are their names? What are their names?
Don't remember.
Oh.
All I know is
Rocky.
Yeah, it was Rocky.
Colt.
What was the other one? He's looking it up right now.
I'm not. My hands are right here. I'm not. Rocky, Colt.
I don't know.
It was the little one had a weird name. It was the youngest.
I'm going to look now, but Rocky and Colt. No, Three Ninjas. I didn't think we'd get that reference on tonight.
Can we talk about how Hulk Hogan was the villain in the second one, or Sky Mountain, or the one from the theme park?
Tum Tum.
Yes.
Credit to IMDb for that. I did not come up with that on my own.
Jesus.
Okay, but yes, this Saturday at the Bluegrass Community Center, it is SCWPro's Epic. It is our WrestleMania. I have seen what is in store with talking to management and what they want to do. There's also going to be a street fight with WrestleMania security guard or correctional officer Connor Braxton. And the Shadow Hunters, which are Augustus Draven and Jay Marston, taking on the fully reunited Infamy in a street fight, 6-man street fight. It will be Dion's first match in almost a year since he had his other knee injury after he took the SCWPro Championship away from me in Iowa City. We won't talk about that. But no, it is a very, very exciting card. If you're not doing anything, Bluegrass Community Center, Saturday night.
$10 per ticket. You can get in there. It's going to be a great show.
Concessions
Johnny,
and bar will be there.
So glad that you were talking about Epic, because I can tease next week's show a little bit. We're going to be talking about Epic as well. But we're not going to be alone. We're going to be joined by one Merrick Brave, who's going to talk about the history of Epic and all that good stuff next week. So I'm excited for that too.
Johnny, the third ninja was Tum Tum.
Yes, we figured that out already. CZ beat you to it.
I had to step away to get something to drink, man. I was like I got water. But Tum Tum is. He's known for his large appetite and fondness for sweets. His trademark colors are yellow, orange, and red. So,
and one of them was blue, and the other one was green.
Colt was blue, and Rocky was green. Yep.
Jesus.
Oh. You've been listening to the Card Subject to Change podcast. Our topic tonight has been the Three Ninjas. So if you missed it, go back in our archives. We talked for 2 hours about that, 2.5 hours. Totally had no discussion about WrestleMania at all. Next week, we'll be joined by Merrick Brave. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. If you're looking at us on YouTube or you're watching us live, you can catch our Twitter handles right down below our names. But thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next Monday when Mr. Merrick Brave is available to talk about Epic.